Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Michael was already on edge when the invitation arrived, a heavy envelope with Monica's neat handwriting on the front. The Quartermaine matriarch had been ill for months, and everyone had whispered about what would happen when the inevitable came. Now, with Monica gone, the family was gathering for the dreaded will reading inside the sprawling Quartermaine mansion. The walls themselves seemed to absorb the tension as relatives, exes, and rivals filled the parlor, all of them waiting to see who would walk away with a piece of the legacy. Michael expected that, as AJ's son and Jason's nephew, he would naturally be recognized as one of the heirs who could carry the Quartermaine name forward. He carried himself with quiet confidence as he took a seat, his eyes darting around the room at cousins, distant relatives, and people who had complicated histories with the family. But Michael's confidence would soon shatter, because Monica's final words held surprises that no one had seen coming. The first twist came when Diane began reading the document in her precise, lawyerly tone. The will started with formalities, recognizing the Quartermaine legacy, acknowledging Alan, Edward, Lila, and all those who came before. The family listened quietly, bracing themselves. Then the allocations began. Brooklyn was mentioned, which wasn't shocking. Ned, despite his own ups and downs with the family, was named, and that, too, was expected. Even Olivia was recognized in small ways, Monica acknowledging the loyalty she had shown. But when the portion involving Michael should have arrived, Diane's voice skipped right past his name. Michael's brow furrowed. He leaned forward, straining to make sure he hadn't misheard. It wasn't just that he wasn't given the Quartermaine estate, it was that Monica didn't even seem to mention him in the pivotal parts of her will. His absence loomed large, and the silence around his name was deafening. Then came the real bombshell. Monica had left one of the most significant pieces of the Quartermaine fortune and access to the mansion itself to Ronnie, the man hardly anyone thought would even be considered. Ronnie, who had been seen as more of an outsider, a figure loosely tied to the family, suddenly emerged as the one who would inherit the keys to the Quartermaine kingdom. Gasps echoed across the room. Michael's face drained of color. He clenched his jaw, gripping the arms of his chair until his knuckles turned white. To him, this wasn't just a snub, it was a betrayal. How could Monica overlook him, the grandson she had watched grow, the one who had endured the constant push and pull between Corinthos and Quartermaine worlds? For years, Michael had tried to prove that he belonged. He had endured family conflicts, rivalries, and the burden of his last name. And now, in Monica's final act, she had left him with nothing, while handing Ronnie the power and prestige that Michael had assumed would be his. The room buzzed with speculation. Brooklyn turned to Ned in disbelief. Tracy raised an eyebrow, her lips curling in that familiar smirk that said she'd already anticipated chaos. Olivia whispered under her breath, trying to make sense of the decision. And all the while, Ronnie sat stunned, clearly not expecting such a massive windfall, yet unable to hide the flicker of triumph that crossed his face. For Michael, the humiliation cut deeper with every passing second. He remembered moments with Monica, times when she had assured him he was part of the family. He recalled dinners in the mansion, times she had offered advice or simply sat with him in quiet companionship. How could those memories add up to this? His mind spun, replaying every interaction, searching for clues. Did Monica ever hint at doubts about him? Did she ever suggest she might not trust him with the Quartermaine legacy? Or was this part of some larger strategy he couldn't yet grasp? As Diane continued reading, the sense of shock in the room only grew. Monica had left stipulations that the mansion would be managed carefully, that Ronnie would be responsible for overseeing its future, and that other family members could remain in residence only under his watch. That meant Michael, if he wanted to stay in the house or even maintain his presence there, would have to answer to Ronnie. It wasn't just about money. It was about power, control, and status within one of Port Charles's most iconic families. The implications rippled outward. Ned wondered what this meant for ELQ, whether Monica's choices would shift the balance of influence. Tracy, ever the strategist, began plotting her next moves, considering how she could use Michael's exclusion to her advantage. Brooklyn felt the sting on Michael's behalf, but also recognized the danger of confronting Ronnie too directly. Michael sat frozen, his thoughts shifting from disbelief to anger. Was Monica manipulated? Had Ronnie somehow earned her trust in ways Michael hadn't seen? Or was this truly how she viewed him, as someone unworthy of carrying the Quartermaine torch? The snub hit him harder than he wanted to admit. For so long, he had balanced the weight of being Sonny's son while also being tied to the Quartermaines. He had wanted recognition, validation, proof that he wasn't just caught between two legacies but could actually inherit one of them. Instead, Monica's final act pushed him to the margins, as if he didn't belong at all. After the will reading concluded, the room erupted in murmurs. Ronnie was congratulated by a few who hoped to gain favor with him, while others openly questioned Monica's judgment. Michael avoided eye contact, his fury building as he made his way toward the door. Carly intercepted him, whispering urgently, telling him to keep his composure, but Michael brushed past her. To him, Carly's reassurances felt empty. She wasn't the one who had just been cut out of the Quartermaine fortune in favor of a relative outsider. Later, as the mansion settled into uneasy silence, Michael stood outside on the porch, staring into the night. Every instinct in him screamed that something was wrong, that Monica's decision wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. Maybe there was more to the story. Maybe Ronnie had secrets that Monica had discovered. Or maybe Monica wanted to force Michael to prove himself in ways that went beyond money and property. But no matter what the reasoning, Michael couldn't shake the sting of Jason, his uncle, and what Jason might say if he were alive to see this. Jason would probably tell him to focus on what really mattered, to find strength in himself rather than in the approval of others. But Michael couldn't escape this sense of injustice. The Quartermaine mansion represented more than just a house. It was the heart of the family legacy, the center of power. And now Ronnie held that power, while Michael was left scrambling on the outside. What came next would depend on how Michael handled the blow. Would he lash out, confronting Ronnie directly and demanding answers? Would he investigate, determined to uncover whether foul play influenced Monica's will? Or would he spiral, letting the rejection fuel a darker path, one that could alienate him from the family even further? Ronnie, for his part, faced his own challenges. Though he had been handed the keys to the kingdom, he knew that resentment lurked in every corner of the house. Tracy would watch for any missteps. Ned would question his authority. And Michael, though humiliated, wouldn't stay quiet for long. Ronnie's victory came with strings attached, and those strings could easily tighten into a noose if he wasn't careful. Back inside, the Quartermaines debated Monica's choices, each person interpreting her will through their own lens. Tracy suggested Monica had wanted to shake things up, to test the family by giving power to someone unexpected. Brooklyn argued that Monica must have seen something in Ronnie that others overlooked. Olivia worried about the fractures this decision would cause, knowing the Quartermaines were never truly united, even in the best of times. But for Michael, none of that mattered. He wasn't interested in philosophical explanations or attempts to rationalize Monica's choices. He wanted answers. He wanted to know why he was left out, why his name wasn't honored in the way he believed it should have been. And until he got those answers, he wasn't going to let the matter rest. The storm inside him grew with each passing hour, and as night fell over the mansion, Michael's resolve hardened. Monica's will had created a new battleground, one that would pit family against family, loyalty against ambition. Ronnie may have won the first round, securing the mansion and the Quartermaine fortune, but Michael wasn't going to fade into the background. He was determined to reclaim his place, no matter the cost. This snub wasn't the end of Michael's Quartermaine story. It was only the beginning of a fight that would shake the family to its core. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all of your updates.